Shut up and sit down.
Everybody, and welcome to Nerdsplaining Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Da Silva. With me, as always, is my co-host, Jose Romero.
Greetings, salutations, nerds around the world. And you too, Eric. What the hell?
Oh,
You deserve the
thank you. I get my own category.
You get your own
Sup,
greeting and
nerd?
salutation. You're not, exempt from
Sup?
such niceties and informalities here on the show. We're back, man. We're back. Another week in geek. Not a lot of big news. Some little small things here and there. It's all good.
Well, listen, not a lot of big news, but little big news. There's like two spikes in my opinion. Two definitely like cools.
Yeah, this is not the least of big stuff. It's just at the beginnings.
Right.
A lot of things, right? We're kind of creeping up on there, and James Gunn, man. It's funny because James Gunn, he keeps dropping. He did like another Twitter meeting, whatever he does. I don't know, whatever.
Right.
Town halls, whatever. He's dropping all kinds of stuff, but things we'll talk about. And he mentioned, it's the Superman trailer. Kind of hinted at coming towards the end of the year, which can't say a surprise. That sounds like a Christmas, December-ish kind of thing.
Like
right?
A short 30-second, we just take a boot on the ground.
Like a minute, you hear the music or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe we'll get I think we're gonna get we're gonna get a glimpse. We're not gonna get like a teaser, like your teaser trailer.
I bet you that we literally just get like a flash frame, and there's gonna be YouTube's gonna freeze that moment and do like 20 videos on breaking down how the costume looks in that one shot.
The color of the
we'll
boot
do that. We
is not quite what we want. I don't know. The calf muscle is not quite there. All kinds of shit's gonna come out. You're probably right on that.
The curl's supposed to go to the right. What does it mean if it goes to the left? We think Bizarro.
Ooh, now you're talking. Now some nuggets right there. But I want to get some bad news out the way because the last couple weeks, we kind of brought up on the show with so many deaths in Hollywood and nerd names, with the Whistler and of course
James Earl Jones recently as well.
It's a bunch of them, but we have another one. So do another in memoriam. I don't know if you heard about this because we brought this up a couple weeks ago, and we want to pay respects and condolences to the fans of Chaos on Netflix, which has been given the axe after one season, a show we talked about here. No longer with
Can
us.
we not have nice things? Is that not possible? Can we get a kooky, character-driven, like everyone chewing up the scenery deconstruction of Greek myth? Can we not have? Listen, I love superheroes. I love sci-fi. I love all sorts of genre-ish things.
Naturally.
Having a weird Quentin Tarantino West Wing deconstruction of Greek myths sounds like fun, and it is. I'm very bummed out that not a lot of you watched it.
Yeah, clearly that was the case. It is what it is. Netflix do what they're gonna do, and I'm sure it's not I don't think it was that expensive a show. It's not like it was a heavy effects show, but it has some big name actors. I'm sure the salaries are extensive. I love Jeff Goldblum. He was great as Zeus. Yeah, cool show, man. That kind of sucks. I was hoping for at least one more, but
yeah,
they say nay. The people have spoken.
We didn't need 5 seasons worth, but I think a good 2 seasons would have been a really fun show. But I feel like if you want to know how Chaos ends, just watch Twilight of the Gods, because it's pretty much the same thing.
Kind of, I guess. It's kind of. Twilight of the Gods is really good.
Spoiler alert, it's Jesus.
We don't know. When that show's been canceled, I haven't heard anything in that one.
Well, we talked about it. It feels very done in one.
It could be, yes.
With the illusion of the alluded to the idea of maybe a second
something in that world, whatever.
Right.
For those who watch this show,
but it feels very self-contained. It's so great. Yeah. But I feel like both series would essentially end the same way.
Yeah, no, yeah. So it is. Yeah, you're right. And so we got kind of an ending. I don't know, whatever. But hey, man, if it happens with these shows, man, they come and go. You roll the dice sometimes with these shows.
That's right.
On the streaming services. They're very quick on the trigger. We know this.
It goes to show, even with big names attached for doing killer performances, nothing in life is guaranteed.
That is guaranteed. People didn't catch on, obviously. So there it goes, right? It's not Netflix fault. People, you didn't watch it.
You think if you got the Nerdsplaining bump, we're guaranteed success. But apparently, even we could be a little wrong.
I'm still waiting for my check. I keep joking about Chewy on the watch list. I was, endorsing Squid Games way before anybody caught on, and all of a sudden it took off. I didn't get a check from Netflix. I'm still waiting. Netflix, I'm still
See,
waiting.
I
saying
it sounds like I need to get onto the watch list to promote a thing, because clearly the watch list vibe takes it over the edge.
Clearly.
So
you're right about that. We'll definitely have that in the near future.
All right.
But that said, let's get into some other news in our seriousness here, and we'll start with something with DC here. I'm gonna kind of go on. Let's start with DC. I changed my mind. We're gonna start with something independent, non-DC, non-Marvel, right?
Ooh.
So
I hope it's the thing I think it is.
I don't know if it is or not. Maybe it is. But I heard about this before. I think, and I'm trying to think, but either way, in relation to remakes, and we got another Arnold Schwarzenegger classic, The Running Man, being remade, coming out officially next year, with director Edgar Wright, who I'm a big fan of. Who at one point was attached to Ant-Man, but he pulled out of that years ago.
Yes.
But he does some really cool movies. Glenn Powell, who's the man of the hour, apparently. He's in everything.
Oh, he's gonna be the Schwarzenegger character?
Yeah, he's gonna be the man. He's been cast as the main character,
nice.
so which is great. I like Glenn Powell.
I mean, so far,
he's really good.
I'm liking what I'm hearing.
Yeah, so I mean, listen, I know, because I just, when I heard this, I kept thinking, oh my God, Total Recall, right? That had that Colin Farrell remake,
right.
It's not good. It's just not good. And I would have thought this. I'm like, oh boy, but with Edgar Wright attached,
it changes the dynamic
a little bit. It does change the dynamics. It's a little more light. Does comedy a lot. We've seen it with
right.
With the hot buzz and all that stuff.
Really great eye for action sequences.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, we've seen Baby Driver. Very cool.
Baby Driver is
really cool.
Look, even forget Baby Driver. Go to Shaun of the Dead when they're beating the zombies to Nothing's Gonna Stop Me Now. That's an ingenious.
It really is.
Action
he did something like that with Baby Driver as well, with queuing things
right.
up.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Baby
Driver has that all over.
Yeah, he's got the editing, very frantic pace. Very cool. I mean, listen, I'm a big fan of Running Man. This is a movie which, if you take Total Recall away, was begging for a remake. Yeah, it really was. And I like him attached, Glenn Powell, who's, again, he's the man of the hour. Right? I mean, look, he's popping up everywhere for a reason.
As a straight hetero man, that dude is pretty on the eyes.
Yeah. We congratulate here. You don't hate on that. Listen, hey.
Absolutely. You give me credit too.
I get it. I do. He's a good-looking guy. We see him in Top Gun. We see him in Twister. He's had another movie on Netflix, which was pretty good. So he's been popping a lot of things. So, yeah, dude. So, yeah, I mean, this is interesting, man. I'm kind of curious what kind of tone they'll take it.
Here's the thing. So I'm going to get a little Nerdsplaining. I'm going to get a little Nerdsplaining. If you read the original Running Man book, it's really dark.
Yes, it is.
The original Running Man book, the twist is that the studio had kidnapped Arnold Schwarzenegger's character's wife and kid, and said, if you don't do the Running Man, we'll kill them. So when he gets to the end, he makes it a Running Man, and they're leaving like on a helicopter, and the studio's like, we would like to make you a new hunter, and we'll give you all this money. Everything. He goes, what about my wife and kid? It's like, oh, I'm really sorry. We actually killed them a long time ago. We thought we didn't know you were gonna make it, so we figured just to get him out of the way. And he just murders everyone in the helicopter and crashes the helicopter and releases the video of that whole confrontation, and it dies at the end, and that video gets to the public, and that's how it ends. And really dark and messed up. And Running Man, the movie, kind of made it more kind of like a fun action-y type movie. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping they kind of get a nice little middle ground where it's fun, but there's like a little bit of there's a darkness.
You're right.
But
I want to say a little bit of darkness, right? Absolutely, you're right. 100%.
Maybe not as dark as that ending, but definitely something where you kind of there's a palpable, like someone gets betrayed, and you're like a little bit like, ugh, it kind of sticks in your cross and validates the big action sequence resolution, because you want to get that release out of it. And once again, Edgar Allan Wright knows how to do that, especially if you watch. We've been talking a lot about this now, but Baby Driver, that ending is very bittersweet, but solid. Like he turns himself into prison, gets so his girlfriend can get away, and then in the end he's out, and they get to be happily ever after that. Something like that is what I feel like this movie would need to kind of get that combination of the two without sacrificing the tone of either. But that all being said, I want to know who's going to play the Hunters, and I hope they actually get WWF people. Get me Batista, get me The Rock, get me Rollins, get me Triple H. Those
I can definitely see like a John Cena in this.
Cena, yeah.
I think he'd be spot on.
Cena has to be the Jesse Ventura
That's
character.
exactly what I was gonna tell you. Yeah, absolutely gonna tell you.
Yeah.
Right, he's a commentator and he jumps in there. Be kind of
Uh-huh.
cool. He just has a
Yes.
sensibility. I see it's like so clear. I mean, it's obvious. You can put, Batista in there for obvious reasons. He's big. They got a lot. I mean, you want to get guys, not just all the wrestlers, but you want guys who can actually act.
Absolutely,
Besides the
absolutely. I don't
physicality,
know
but
who's going to be the the electrical
oh,
opera guy, but we
Dynamo. What is
need
his
an
name?
electrical
Dynamo.
opera guy. Just
Yeah, the Dynamo.
gotta.
I think Dynamo is his name. I think
And
you know what would be good for that? Josh Gag.
oh, Josh, gotta be kind of a fun
Kind of
kind of
right.
way to,
That'd be
yeah,
kind of
kind of
cool.
fun,
Yeah.
kind of fun. I will say, let's change it up and not just have dudes, but maybe okay. So this is what I'm thinking. Do you remember the Batman cartoon, which was the series that came out after the animated series wrapped up? Do you remember that cartoon?
Vaguely.
So
Vaguely,
Jeff
yeah.
Matsuda redid all the redesigns of characters, and when he redid the Penguin, he gave the Penguin these two girl ninjas who were dressed in kabuki with like giant claws. Give me a 3-pair ninjutsu team of gymnastic women as one of the hunters. Like they are combined, and maybe what's really cool is you could do the hive man thing where maybe they're cybernetically enhanced, so they're all connected.
True.
So they strike together, but if you hurt one, the other two react, and it becomes a really cool action sequence like that. That would be a really fun Running Man thing to make it stand out a little differently. I just thought about this right now. So listen, Edgar, if you need help, I'm here. I got ideas, so we can totally spin out. But I'd love to see some female hunters as well, and just to kind of show a different way of murder, not just straight on, but maybe stealthy and that kind of thing. It'd be kind of fun to do, see something like that.
Well,
especially if you got Glenn Powell, you want to see something like comparison different.
Oh no, of course. And there is someone looking at the cast now, Katie O'Brien.
Okay.
She's actually a martial artist.
Oh yes.
So, and I'm trying to find her credits, and I can't find them right now. It says Twisters, but she does a lot of more stunt work and all that. So there's maybe some.
Oh, perfect. Then there you go. It's right.
Right now, what you're saying, and Daniel Ezra.
Oh, nice.
Who's in there as well? He was in Prey. I don't remember him in Prey. Oh, but 2014 version, the All Americans. He's kind of again another unknown guy, but he's a youngish guy, African American guy. So yeah, those are 3 people casted so far. So, but yeah, it's just cool. It's good. It's really good. And I think Scott Pilgrim was another one. Scott Pilgrim with the kind of fighting, kind of.
Yeah, very much. Yeah,
very
and
cool.
you have those
Very
kind of stylized fight scenes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So
definitely want that.
Definitely something. So I'm excited about this. And this is a great time for this film because now. That movie was a little bit ahead of its time in terms of the premise with this kind of reality TV kind of thing we see now all the time, and American Gladiators or whatever that's come up through the years. This kind of fits in right exactly with people
especially
wanting
when you see stuff like the Hunger Games. You
right,
can take
the Hunger
what
Games,
worked there and take it on all other.
we just mentioned the Squid Games.
Squid Games as well.
Exactly what we're talking about, right? Even the reality show. This is right in line with that. Blood hungry people want to see this shit, right? So.
Sure.
Makes perfect sense. Richard Dawson's the only guy I'm trying to think who get the cast for that.
Oh, who would do the Richard Dawson?
Man, the host who hosted the Running Man game on TV.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know, man. Big.
You need someone who's like cheesy, but there's an air of evil to it.
That's what I'm saying. Dawson was actually pretty good.
He was great.
He was really good. He nailed it. So something to think about. Well, let's see. I'm kind of curious who they cast for him. But yeah, that's coming out 2025. So that's been about a year from now, from what I understand. So good for that. Another one we've
Jonah Hill
for. Good call.
Jonah Hill.
This is a good call with that. Yes, absolutely. Good call. Very good call. Even maybe I don't know about Rogen. Seth Rogen, maybe.
I think Seth Rogen would be.
He's almost
a little try hard.
He's a little too likable. Yeah.
But Jonah Hill, especially if you watch Jonah Hill, Wolf of Wall Street, he can do that.
He can do it. No, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Another casting news. We talked about Spiderman Noir. We saw some pictures, right? The tangibleization of this movie or the show. Anyway, coming to Amazon Prime. Nicolas Cage, Brendan Gleeson, coming off his hard run. Was that the Oscar film he did with Colin Farrell? I forgot the name of it. Either way, he's coming up. He's been rumored to be. He's cast, man. They gave him a rumor, and I have to ask you about this. I'm not familiar with Spider-Man Noir in terms of the lore or what have you. But there's a character, the villain, that he's supposed to be playing. A little bit older, which matches with Nicolas Cage, because he's also playing somebody older as well. God, I forgot the name of the villain. Oh, my apologies.
Tombstone?
No, begins with he's dressed in silver.
Silverman.
Yes, thank you. That guy. Silverman,
So
yes.
Silvermane, okay, so this is kind of an interesting thing they're doing is Silvermane is okay. So in a little background, a little nerd if you will. In the '70s, they were they had the comics code in full effect at that point, and so one thing is they couldn't mention the mafia. Like you can't say this. You can say there's a mob, you say
Really?
it's a gang, but you can't mention like the mafia because the mafia implies organized crime. And so a mob is like, oh, they run an area. Organized crime is international, especially because mafia was Italy to the US and that connection point. So Marvel said, we'll have a super mafia, like a super villain mafia called the Magia. And that would be the workaround. And Silvermane was essentially an Italian mobster who was running the U.S. side of things for Italy, and his body got destroyed, and he was dying from like a gang war, and they put him in like a Terminator body, but they kept his
Huh.
old man face
Okay.
on it, so he was called Silverman, and his body was like a metal silver and the whole thing. And he always wore a trench coat with like a top hat, with like a fedora kind of hat. And whenever Spider-Man ran, he would rip it off and just be a cyborg body. Spider was like, "What the hell is that?" Like, it freaked us out. It was a great, ridiculous, awesome design. And so, especially if they're doing a crime noir, I could really very easily see almost like a steampunk mech suit that keeps his old body, his old man body alive. That'd be really fun to see something like that. Be very visually dynamic. So it could be cool. But once again, because it's noir, you want to stick closer to crime villains, like organized crime villains. So you're thinking your Hammerheads, your Tombstones, your Silvermanes, all that very much in place of what could work out. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting thing. I heard about that. So and of course Gleason, he's really good. I mean, he's done a lot of stuff in
Yeah,
Bruges, um, Banshees of
Sheridan,
I'm mispronouncing Braveheart. Of course,
Braveheart.
he's been in Harry Potter film, so he's been around. But he's really good. He's really good. So that's interesting news. That I'm getting more interested in that property more and more. The more stuff I hear about it and all.
You know what? I want to get interested, but Sony's hurt me so many times. I have to
Well,
piecemeal
I'm
my
leaning more
interest.
towards the Amazon Prime Productions
Right.
slash
Amazon Prime
MGM,
has a
right?
better track record.
Correct, right?
Absolutely.
Because MGM is MGM, Amazon, whatever, same thing.
Right.
So I trust in them more in
Sure.
this, particularly in the series form. So that kind of gets me more excited. You're
I,
right.
I
If
mean,
this was Sony, this was following Craven the Hunter. Okay,
yeah.
100%, 100%. I'm like, I don't care who they cast. It just, Glenn Powell and Edgar Wright, it's not gonna work. So we'll see. But no, as a series for Amazon MGM, yes, I'm in.
At least visually it's going to be great.
And
Visually, it's
yes,
going to look
you know that
fantastic.
yeah, they're not cheap on the budgets. The shows
No, they're not.
always have good budgets. They always look good. So yeah, I no doubt about it. Speaking of more casting everywhere. So now we talked about this so many times with the Green Lantern Corps. We finally got the casting for Jon Stewart. We know obviously Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan.
Hal Jordan.
So Aaron Pierre is the newly dubbed Green Lantern Corps member of Jon Stewart. Of course, he's from Rebel Ridge. Movie that got a lot of notoriety and praise on Netflix.
A lot of heat.
A
And
lot of
it's
heat,
solid.
a lot of. I mean, that movie's okay. I didn't think it was as good as everyone made it out to be. I thought it was fine. He's good in it though, and I think physically
It
he's
is.
really good for the role.
Rebel Ridge is like a little bit of Rambo First
First Blood,
Blood
yeah.
and a little bit of that movie where The Rock is like a sheriff and he carries like a stick.
The Rundown.
The Rundown.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a little bit of that,
yeah.
because he doesn't murder those cops, even though Party wishes he would at least like permanently paralyze at least three of them.
That's fair.
But it has it has this like altruistic, when you're so badass you don't have to murder anybody, just stop them with your badassery skills. And it has a lot about that, and it plays well, and it's not world ending. It's just something happening in a town, and you got to deal with just the and I kind of like the simple scale of it all,
Yeah, I guess
and so it's
good.
really fun.
It's
So I
just
was really
not.
happy.
Oh my! It just sometimes these things kind of just like a snowball, right? You hear about it, and you watch it like, it was alright. But I get it. But he was good in it, and he
was
he
solid.
hasn't done a whole lot. He's young, 30 years
No.
old, so obviously we knew they were going for a much younger actor, juxtaposed to with Kyle Chandler and all that actor who's in his 50s. So yeah,
Isn't he also doing the voice of Simba?
he's
In
doing the
the
voice
new...
of and then Mufasa
So
movie
he's
coming out.
got a little heat on him. He's
Yeah, that's what
building
I'm
up
saying.
his
He's up and coming.
rapport.
He's not Glenn Powell yet, but he's
No,
definitely
not at
on the
all.
rise, right?
Yes.
And this could
I don't know
definitely.
how his abs are because Glenn Powell is 60%
Glenn Powell,
abs.
I
So
think it's like 75% abs last month. I mean, so can I say, dude, jealous? Praise the guy. But this
I got
guy's ripped.
jelly all over
But
this.
this
Yeah.
guy's ripped too. He's a big guy. He looks,
Yeah.
he's got the
Oh
look,
no,
got
no,
the
yeah.
size. Good looking guy. He's another good looking guy. He really is.
He has almost like this like otherworldly handsome black dude look that like I'm like if you're gonna put a space cop, this is the face you want as your space cop. Hal Jordan almost looks a little bit like post or like Carol Channing has almost like a 1950s good looking guy. Almost he looks a little bit more like a handsome dude from Fallout would look like. And this dude looks like a black guy from space, and it's like I'm handsome, but I don't belong here, which amongst all you uggos. It's very so. I'm excited to see this now.
No, I mean, the whole premise sounded great. It really did. I think they're really, really trying to do their best to make this a legit series. We've seen the Penguin. Kudos, it's been really good. So
Real good.
Okay, this again, this gets me excited about this, right? I think there was a couple of guys I forgot the name of the other guy who they're gonna cast. Another kind of unknown actor. It came down to the screen tests with Chandler. They did like a week of those, and
don't forget Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner.
Guy Gardner, right? Exactly. So he'll be that comedic element, of course. I would assume.
Absolutely.
Because Jon Stewart is more. He's I guess he's the opposite of Hal Jordan, not really, but
he's not. Okay, so Kyle Gardner is the self-centered asshole,
right?
Who but has a strong right and wrong compass. Hal Jordan is a guy who does not. He does not let fear overcome him. His willpower to get things done overcomes fear. Jon Stewart is the structured focus.
Right.
He is a guy who, like, there was a great miniseries called Green Lantern Rebirth. And they were breaking down how each lantern is different, and they were like how Jon Stewart, as a military guy who also is an engineer, all his constructs are very intricate and articulate because it knows like his brain creates a system of things that everything has to work together to be efficient. So he has these very efficient constructs because his brain is like, how do I get to this without losing anything? Like I don't want to get this but sacrifice that. I want to get the most simplest clear goal, one straight line. That's how his constructs work. So I'm really interested in seeing that take on, especially if you for an entire generation, Jon Stewart is their Green Lantern. When you watch the Justice League anime series, Jon Stewart was put in there. Originally it was supposed to be Hal Jordan, but rightly so. Worlds changed. You're like, listen, we have a team of white dudes. Can we at least have one person of color in there? And so, and thank God it was Jon Stewart Green Lantern and not Black Lightning, because come on, like I get it. Black Panther gets a pass, but not every character has the word black, who's black on it. It's a lot. So
it's on the nose, Green man. It's as subtle as a sledgehammer. So I get it.
It's not as bad as the cartoon Silverhawks, where the black character was called Hot Wing. That's horrible. But this is way more progressive, and I'm glad they did. But they showed a guy who's like, he believes in what's right and knows like there's a way to do things, and we have to do it the most efficient. And especially if you do like a buddy cop training day situation, you want to have a guy who's like, these are the rules. We stick to the rules because the rules matter.
You have the guy who kind of just
Hal Jordan's like, I'm gonna do what's right, and if I gotta bend the rules a little bit, it's cool because it's right.
I can see the man.
Jon Stewart's like, this is it. So I like that, and especially after watching Rebel Ridge, there's a guy who's so badass. He just sticks to his badass rules, and he's able to overturn an entire system. Great. I'm into it. So that's a great casting in my opinion.
Yeah, very good. I'm like looking forward to it. I think is this next year? I don't even know, to be honest with you.
I think it's going to be next year.
I think so. It's next year. I guess they have to start filming probably early in the year. Maybe the third or fourth quarter of next year is what I'm thinking.
You're probably going to get it like this time next year. Episode 1 will probably be long.
I think like Penguin debuted in September. I'm thinking around the same potentially, right?
Yeah.
Depends on how heavy effects they're going to get with this. That's a big component of it, right? It's a lot of money. It's just, effects take time, right? You gotta do them right. More casting news. This is immense. This is a week of casting. This is one I didn't even heard of, didn't see anything coming about it. I heard there is some casting, some young kid who's unknown, I forgot his name, but for Voltron, the live action series coming out. Again, Amazon MGM Studios, right? They'll get thrown in the mix. And they casted Henry Cavill to be in this as well, man. Oh. We love us some Henry Cavill. Listen, Glenn Powell, him, it's close. He donned the cape. He can't with this, so I'm going to lean towards Cavill, but listen, both guys are good-looking guys. It is what it is, right? I mean, listen, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
I finally sat down and got a chance to watch the Ministry of Ungenemy Warfare.
Cool boy. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So much fun. And once again, continuing the streak that I just really like everything that Cavill does. Like, he brings an earnestness and a fun, even if he's very serious and straightforward, you can tell there's a joy of being there on the project. Like, I saw that in The Witcher. Even if when he's playing a bad guy, like in the Mission Impossible movie, there's like I like the thing that I'm doing. Even though I take this very seriously, I like it. So if he's part of this project, that means he likes it, which makes me more excited about seeing the project overall.
This, for me, legitimized this project. Because the director, I mean, Amazon's great. I'm on for Amazon, but the director, the Red Notice on Netflix,
listen, I will say Red Notice
it's fine.
Red Notice as like a Sunday afternoon movie. We got nothing going on. It's fun.
No, exactly. I said I didn't dislike it. I enjoyed it, but it's not a good movie.
It's not a good movie.
Let's just call it.
That's cool.
Right. It's Netflix. It's free. Why not?
Yeah, you finish cleaning your house. You're having a glass of wine. You put that on. Like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, great. Right. Maybe a beer, a shot of whiskey if you had a hard weekend. You know what I mean? So
exactly. He did Skyscraper.
Well, listen, they can't
whatever, okay, but Central Intelligence was he worked The Rock.
That was fun. Central Intelligence was fun.
He worked The Rock a lot. We Are the Millers I did like.
Which one?
We Are the Millers.
Oh yeah, that was really fun. I like that one too.
Kind of a funny way, So again, nothing stands out. This is a different kind of project. He doesn't have experience. None of these movies, I guess Red Notice is kind of actiony, but this is more of a sci-fi, I guess, whatever, animated, big budget, spectacle. But Henry Cavill, because he's a nerd. We know this, right?
Oh yeah.
And he left Witcher for a reason, because it didn't coincide with what he wanted to show to as far as what he known the game and the stories to go. So he's on board here. I assume he liked what he's hearing, liked what he saw. Okay, now I'm a little more excited. I love Voltron. I love Voltron. I'm a huge Voltron fan.
I watched the remake anime series, and I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed that series.
Absolutely. So this is one that's. I would like to see a big screen movie of this, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But fair enough. You can do a series. Okay. Amazon's got money, so I know, again, the effects are going to be what they should be for a show that needs to rely on special effects.
Sure.
So this, I'm into that. I didn't see this coming at all, because I know he's going to be in Warhammer, right? As another project.
Right. That's all we heard about rumor.
Right. And I think I should have checked, but I think that's still going through again with Amazon, I think.
Well, I'll tell you what better way to ingrain yourself with the studio than doing another series of studio, making that successful. So like, oh, cool, now we're going to work with you. And you take that money and you take maybe like 15% of it and you reinvest it into your own project anyway. I mean, it's as a business move, that's great.
What I'm saying. And it's nice to have a guy like Henry Cavill, right? To be the face of geekdom. We need a good-looking guy in there, right? Say, listen, the stigma, we get it, but come on, Henry Cavill, this is a nerd, and come on, you can't complain, right? And he's done The Witcher, Voltron, Warhammer, so
Superman.
He
was, give it what it is.
He was an MCU, with his version
MCU,
of Wolverine,
Mission Impossible.
So
and then he does stuff like Ministry of Ungenemy Warfare. Like it's all solid.
No, it's great, man. So I'm not sure who he's supposed to play, because I know Voltron, because the guy that got the other actor.
I hope it's the red line, the black line with the he's got to be the leader. He's got to be key. He's got to be key.
He's gonna be the leader, or he's gonna be the guy who behind the scenes, I guess, whatever, the mentor. I know the other guy that casts a young kid.
Well, the young kid, I think, is going to be Pidge, which is the one that controls the Green Lion.
Right.
So listen, depending on your budget, and if you're a Voltron lore guy or girl, you're going to know this. He could be the original Blue Lion who gets hurt and he has to give up his spot, and they get the other kid to come in. And so remember, if you watch Voltron, it was originally 5, then one that got hurt and he had to bow out, and then another guy came in, and that became the permanent 5. I think that's how the princess becomes part of it. Remember the princess, she joins it because one of them got hurt. So if you
But you
want to
can't
say
have Henry
budget
Cavill get
wise,
hurt because you got Henry Cavill. Don't
well,
bait it.
listen, I get it,
Don't
but
bait and
also
switches.
money's
Don't.
money, and that dude, you
It's
gotta pay out.
it's
So
Amazon. They're fine.
that's true.
They're
That's
fine,
true. They got
right?
those government
Yeah,
subcontracts. So
they're
yeah,
all
absolutely.
good. They're not in the poorhouse because you can't bait and switches on Henry Cavill.
Uh,
You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
Have
you
like
could,
one
but leave a
episode and
really
he's
bad taste in
out.
people's mouth.
I don't want to see that. I'd be very upset.
But to
I
be
will probably
fair,
stop watching the show. I swear to God. If they're been
to
in
be
switches,
fair,
I'm out.
if they did that,
I'm
I
out.
couldn't get mad because
No.
my nerd brain kicked in and goes, well, that is what happened in the cartoon series originally, guys. So
No,
that's
that's
pretty
okay,
solid.
dude. I'm out. I swear. Nope. Bring on Warhammer? Yeah. And Amazon, they're really getting into this, this IP, man, with stuff like Warhammer and this, and God of War.
Oh yeah,
God of
trust
War.
me, I know.
God of War that doesn't know nothing to work it on. Spider-Man. So, yeah, they're not messing around, dude. They already surpassed Sony. That doesn't take a whole lot, but whatever.
Yeah.
Now let's go back to DC. Let's finish off with DC, right? This is
All right.
Out of all things to talk, this is the big boy, right? And this is interesting because James Gunn came out and talked about a new, I guess, animated-esque project coming out with the Robins, or whatever the case is. Dick Gracie and down the blank, or the other Robin guy, I forgot.
Oh, Dick Grayson, and then you have Jason Todd.
Jason
and
Todd.
Then you have
I think it's Jason Todd.
Tim Drake, and then you have Damian.
It's Drake.
Those are the four primes.
I think it's Drake, so it's two of them, I guess. It's going to be kind of like an origin story revolving on the Robins, these particular Robins. It's going to be...
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, the first two Robins.
Okay, so it's going to be a lot of... It's a mix of animation, CGI...
Some puppetry I heard too.
So that's a lot. It's interesting. It's like, okay. And with James Gunn announcing, I would assume, I can only assume this is going to be part of the universe that he's building.
If he's announcing it, think of it this
right?
way.
I mean,
James Gunn is like, I got nothing to do with Joker 2.
Oh, no, he didn't say a word. He's like, I'm
but if he's like, this is coming out from us, it's got to be connected.
It's very, because I don't know when this is. They announced it. Animation takes a little bit long to do. So I would assume the earliest is 27. But I thought a Batman with the Batman film, I guess the Robin film they were doing with Batman, whatever, that was coming out.
Brave the Bold, right?
I think it's the third movie on the slate for DC. Which is in line for 27, 26.
Theatrical film, but their animation stuff is all over the place.
But it's just kind of curious. Okay, there's an origin. How's it going to tie in? Maybe they'll introduce Brave and the Bold and have this as kind of a supplement. Now he got to the point as he is in Brave and the Bold, I would assume. Right. That's interesting, and I like, it's cool to kind of mix it up, right? We know he's doing like Creature Commandos. We just hadn't get the first thing out of the gate for this new DC, right? I think it's this year too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it might, this
year, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so I like him going, okay, we're doing some animation, and now a different kind of animation, puppetry. You don't see this kind of thing.
It's not like a house style. It kind of played almost like with Marvel. Marvel's got a lot of different animation houses that do different things. I kind of like that idea. Especially if you're going to stick with the movie just being a certain type of tone, have fun with the animation and play around with the different things to get different desired effects. So that's kind of cool. I like that too. Now here's a question, because of James Gunn's mandate of, if you do cartoons, you do everything. Sure. If you do movies, you do the video games, you do everything. Who's gonna be Jason Todd? Who's gonna be Dick Grayson?
Because I don't recall which version of Robin is gonna be in the Brave and the Bold. What was it?
That's gonna be
somebody else, right? It wasn't even any of them. Wow,
yeah,
so you're right.
It's the newest Robin right now, which is actually biological.
Which is interesting
son.
why they're doing.
So,
now they got 3 Robins in this universe. I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, here's the thing. If they're doing Damian and they're doing this other cartoon addressing Dick and Jason, you still have Tim Drake, which is like for the 90s kids, that was their Robin. Where is he? So now you have these other questions. How
they plan to fit all these in, I don't know. Which is it's a curious project, and I like the idea of it. It's just okay. I didn't see this coming at all. This part of the map of DC that he kind of gave us earlier, but okay, listen, until proven otherwise. Right, we're on board James Gunn for now. Right, it all hinges, like we said, on Superman. This is call it what it is, right? Even Creature Commandos, I'm not even counting. I'm not. Right.
Yeah, Creature Commandos is almost like a light appetizer.
Right, exactly.
It has nothing to do with the main course meal.
Like a little drink, a quick pre-dinner drink. It's fine.
Yeah,
great. But we're gonna judge the meal on the main course, right? That's what. Let's be
absolutely.
So let's see. But I mean, listen, this could be interesting, and I know because I heard talks and in this studio execs. This is kind of a side conversation, but I was reading something the other day, and I saw something. I guess there was a report of the executives. They're panicking over Joker. Right? What else is new? Studios have a habit of panicking. They just do. They overreact. So. They overcorrect a lot. Oh, we gave Todd Phillips too much power, and look what happens. Because I don't think we talked about this, but
yes,
apparently Todd Phillips had a carte blanche.
He had final cut. No one got to preview it until he released all that
test
stuff.
Screenings, nothing. The studio's like, you got it. Oops. And this is why.
What could go wrong, billion-dollar maker?
Listen, and this is why your studios have to interfere. People say it's a bad word, studio interference. It's not. First of all, they all interfere, and they interfere in MCU too. Don't get it twisted. Like every movie, it's their movie. They can do whatever the hell they want. They're flipping the bill. And this is what happens when you get too much control. And they blew up in their face. It blew up big time, right? So I think they were panicking and they're worried about the Batman, despite the fact that Penguin's doing well.
I'll tell you a quick side note of how well the Penguin's doing. I have a friend that I introduced them to watch the Penguin. They never watched the Penguin before. And after the second episode, they're like, oh, I'm going to start the third. I was like, listen, the third you can watch on your own. But maybe you try watching the Batman so you can kind of understand the first 5 minutes of the movie of the series and then like 2 days later, they're like, hey, I'm having a really hard time getting to the Batman. Can I just watch the Penguin? Like, just watch the Penguin. Don't worry about it. So that's how good the Penguin is.
Absolutely not. It's the show standard and so.
But that's how good the series is. It's like, I'd rather watch the series than go through this movie. That's how good the series is.
It is that good. But that said, there are concerns. They're talking about maybe only allowing part 2 of Matt Reeves and not part 3, depending on the success of Superman. So if Superman succeeds, they'd rather not see Batman 3. Right? It's almost the opposite. Right.
Okay. 3. So if Superman succeeds, no 3. Exactly. If Superman bombs, 3 for sure.
Which is an interesting approach. And like,
wow.
Okay, I guess. Because the thought process is, what I heard is, if it does succeed, if Superman hits and whatever, right, hit a home run, then like they'd rather just stick with that universe, as opposed to now we're gonna bring a Batman which is completely independent. It doesn't match up with what the clear success that they start off, right? So let's just stick with that.
Right.
Do your version of Batman. Let's roll with that.
Sure.
I think with Muschietti still attached, although that's being debated. Yeah.
Really?
That's James, from what I hear, that's part of the whole thing. Was like Muschietti's the whole thing happened to Flash and the lack of success. I don't think it was his fault, but fair enough. They're having the studio has second thoughts all the time. Now they're panicking, right? A Joker would have hit. We heard none of this nonsense. That is nonsense.
None of this. It'd be like, whatever you guys want.
Whatever. But they lost their ass in Joker. That's whatever. That's what happens. Sometimes you give too much control, man. You have to interfere. I don't care what anybody says.
I always feel like the perfect marriage is 75% artist, 25% studio. That's a good marriage.
Right? You can't the directors do what they want because
absolutely.
Listen, they're not worried about money. They're worried about the art, and that's fine, right? But studios like yo. People have to see this and like this movie, right? We want to get paid. We're gonna give you $100 million, $200 million. We need to get something out of this deal, right? Return on our investments. Right.
We need to guarantee a certain return on this. Absolutely.
What happens? And so
and I feel like the first studio note should have been no French words. No French words.
I didn't know this until obviously all this came out. Like, well, that explains everything. So much. Studio got a little excited.
So much.
They do what only a couple of directors can do what they want. Very few.
And Todd Phillips was
not one of them, but they gave it to him, but he didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve it. Spielberg, you probably do what you want. Maybe Scorsese, although his budget's inflate a lot. Nolan can do what he wants. That's clear. He's go ahead, right?
No,
fine. Do what the hell you want. What are you gonna say? And Tarantino's another
one. Which is
right?
Tarantino,
and
another guy who just does what he wants.
And there's a lot of great directors.
Right.
A lot of good. We talk about Edgar Wright. We like,
a lot of solid directors. Absolutely.
Don't get control. It just does not work. It doesn't work.
Even the Russo brothers don't get to do what they want.
And it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Even James Gunn needs some sort of oversight. But he's the head of the studio, so he's
yes.
Think about the rules.
Which is why James
Correct.
Saffron is his partner. He doesn't get to run the studio the way he wants.
He's
He's a
worried about the
money
money
guy
too,
there
right?
going, no, this, how about that? Right.
It's a good mix there. So but I hope so. That's kind of curious when I heard it. Like,
it is.
And the logic, I'm like, why would you cancel? Even if Superman's great, why would you cancel Batman 3? I'm trying to figure out the logic in that, and I don't make sense of it.
Well, I think it's to me when you said it makes sense because since you already have a Batman Brave and the Bold coming in, you're gonna have a lighter and a darker. So based on the success, you can pivot easily and not be committed to something that maybe is not gonna gel well with the direction everything else is going. I mean, to that it makes sense.
If we're talking about if they're gonna, they said that we're gonna hold off on part 2 until I get, right? Okay, let's see what Superman does. Before we greenlit part 2. Greenlit part 2 is already greenlit. He's already writing. It's in motion. Right, to let that go through.
Right, it's in.
Yeah, to let that go through and then say no in a third one. But let's assume Superman does great, $1 billion, whatever. But then Batman 2 comes out, $1 billion. Are you really gonna cancel Superman 3? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because the first one did like almost.
Yeah,
that's a very good number. Yeah, but taking at a time when DC
very
was
solid
dumps.
number.
Right, let's be honest. That's one of the few movies that actually succeeded financially. I don't see it. Now with Penguin, there's no way they cancel part. That to me, that's the part I didn't get. Like, would you redo that?
But I will say, if they're gonna do another 3-hour movie, that might be a deal breaker for some people.
This is studio interference at its best, right? Controlling that, like, can we scale back 2 hours, 220 at best? Because these movies are getting long, particularly the superhero genre. It's getting a bit much, and that's everybody. DC, Sony, you name it.
Oh,
I do.
And I love a good movie. Endgame, almost 3 hours. It's great, but unfortunately, most people don't know how to pace a 3-hour movie.
Thing to pull off.
So let's stick it at 220,
more or less with credits.
Yeah.
Don't do another 3 hours. It's just
sure.
I get. See, Endgame was different because there was so much to finish off. A lot of T's to cross.
Absolutely, and you also
so it made sense. People, it was the ending of this. This is the first film, the first Batman.
Right, but part 2 where you're focusing on one dude, really? Yeah, you want to bring it down. 2 hours.
Here we go. Right. Yeah. The Todd Phillips act is a new act that's gonna be. It's gonna get signed.
Every time they tell Reeves no, they can say blame Todd Phillips.
Okay. One bad apple, man. One bad apple. Todd Phillips, thank you. The directors out there in the guild, thank you for your idiocy.
That's right. It's like one bad apple ruins the bunch. With exception there you go.
4 guys with Tarantino. No one else gets it. I don't give a shit who you are. Nobody. Not even him. And he's done great with Doom. He doesn't get carte blanche.
Nope.
Not yet.
Great. Still not.
No. Doom, which did well. His other movies haven't done financially. They're great, but they didn't do financially well. So you gotta control budgets, man. Don't Disney these budgets. But that said, I'm sure we'll hear more of that down the road. And for now, those are the nuggets for the week.
Well, real fast before we break, guys. Penguin 3, great. Opening sequence with the end of the Batman, fantastic. Definitely watch that. And Agatha All Along, episode 5, what a banger of an episode. This series just keeps getting better and better. I know Jose is still not watching any of it, but I'm telling you, Jose, episode 4, it starts getting good. Episode 5, it gets really good.
4, it's 5 where I heard a lot of mixed things.
I
haven't seen it.
My interest
mixed, not on 4. I think across the board is good. From when I read 5, I just I don't know how, whatever, but I don't know. I heard it's kind of a mess and has a.
I really like.
I heard 5. I know the twist ending, which is who gives a shit. It's just a twist and no one gives a fuck about. It's not a reveal,
it's more of a
but I mean, and I read it, and I was like,
right. But I really like. I was like, this is a really fun, and also it harkened very much like 80s kind of horror, which I'm always a big fan of. So I was like, this is really cool.
And it's a whole. I just heard mixed. For what it's worth, it doesn't mean anything. But yeah.
But I for me, I was more like dope, whole across the board.
Yeah, we'll talk about those more next week.
Hopefully, maybe around Halloween,
kind of dive in.
And then I think do like 2 episodes for the end. So if you want something to watch for Halloween, I think maybe you're in if you give it a shot. But everyone else, hope you're watching it. It's really enjoyable. Have your opinions on 5. I happen to like it, but
I was impressed by that. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I heard Teacup's pretty solid too. Yeah,
but either way, yeah.
Okay, cool. But guys, has been the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Always love the support you guys are giving us. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe here on YouTube at the Latin Nerd Network. Don't forget to go to listen to all original audio episodes at ericdasilva.com, ERICDASILVA. While you're there, don't forget to pick up my album, Adorably Offensive. I have shows coming up in November and December and January, so keep going there. You'll get updates for that as well. Don't forget to go to dangersquad.com, DANGERSQUAD, dangersquad.com. We are currently at 6 and 17 days left. So please go there, help us out. Anything, $6, you get a digital book, all the way to $150. You get a massive dump load of all the books and T-shirts and ironing for the logo. It's all super dope stuff. And for Pixar fans, we have exclusive variant covers drawn by Pixar's very own character technical director, Omar San Cristobal, fan of the show. He's doing a limit of 24. I think we've sold about 5 of them, so there's about 19 left. So get those before they sell, because after that, no more of those available. So please check that as well. Don't forget to go to our social medias at Nerdsplaining on Instagram, at Nerdsplaining on Twitter. Let us know what you thought about the show. Let us know on X Twitter. Let us know what you thought about the show. Let us know what you thought about Penguin and Agatha. Let us know what you're excited about for Voltron or Lanterns. We want to hear all that information as well. Let us know. And let us know about the show. Who's right, who's wrong in our takes. We want to hear about all that. Your opinion doesn't matter. Guys, as always, I have been Eric Silva. This has been Jose Romero. We have been Nerdsplaining. And if you don't know,